butterfly effect probably.
Nick, can you unrecord this for me?
I can unrecord this.
Put it back. Put the mic on reverse.
Yeah, if we put
suck it all back in.
We plug the mic in backwards, we can reverse the audio back into the room.
That's
when are we getting a Sci-Fi Channel movie?
Hello and welcome to Please Don't Listen to This, Your Life Depends on It. This week, we have a very, very special episode from our boy, pulling the triggers like ordering takeout, George.
Nice.
I have committed a few drive-bys.
Dude, I've definitely
enough with your brain.
been to a drive-thru before.
We've all done to the drive-thrus or whatever.
We have the genius of fists and feet, Alex.
I don't like to brag about my hand and feet, but they're there.
He's got both, guys. For the listeners.
Believe me, they're there.
It's the guy for the man who has everything.
We have the mad dog of crime, Cam.
That's right. And my mad dog of not crime.
My
related.
mad crime dog.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that one.
And we have, I almost spit all over the police board when I saw you, Seb.
What?
Nice.
I don't
I was
remember
looking-
that one.
No, yeah.
When was that?
It's when he...
The end.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it's like the last 20 minutes or something like
Yeah.
All right, when he was explaining to his brother.
Fine, they're gonna
Censor
listen
that.
to
Censor that.
No,
You're not
that's
spoiling
not a spoiler. They
That's
don't
a
know anything
spoiler.
about this yet.
Oh.
Yeah, she watched the movie, but don't think she knows anything about this. That's a lot of assuming you have to do there.
It's true. It's true.
All
Wait,
right.
are we not spoiling anything on this?
No, we're going to spoil
No,
the shit out of
I
it.
didn't want to spoil it.
Why bother
Yeah,
talking
but
about a movie
they
if
don't
we're not
know
gonna
how
get
that
spoiled?
relates to the story yet.
But
Yeah.
now they know that he has a brother. That's more spoiling.
Anytime I watch a movie, I'm like, I hope this guy doesn't have a brother.
I want for their extended family information. I look up the family tree. Gotta lay it all out.
I was very disappointed by the movie Step Brothers.
Yeah, I look up their
Fucking spoiler right in the title.
He has a
Yes.
real brother too? That's ridiculous. That
If-
is,
How many brothers can one movie have?
Okay.
It's kind of a far-fetched
I mean,
concept.
Black
really.
Dynamite had like a cast of them. So.
Oh, nice.
Whoa.
Oh, I should have said Black Panther. More topical.
Yeah. shit.
All right.
Damn.
Is it?
They're
I
taking
guess they
their
don't know when
audible
we're
money
recording
away,
this.
dude.
All right, so we're going to go right into the weeks. Alex, since you have the least to say, you want to start?
Did you introduce yourself?
Oh, well, I am your host, Nick.
The
I don't
man.
have a funny thing to say for myself.
Wait, let's come up with a really good one right now.
Oh, all right. It's
Should be really easy. You are Indonesian.
He's,
Good.
We can work on that.
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
That's good? Alright.
Yeah.
Fuck, I had one.
I am staying on this city, Nick.
Okay.
Nice. Alright.
It's get out of here, you idiot, right now. Nick.
So,
That was almost the name of the show, right?
something
Get
I
out of
really
here, you idiot.
That's all I heard.
wanted to do a little intro because I haven't put in anything in this show for the past like 8 weeks about what this show is and what it's supposed to be, and we never talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure I get it this time because next week we're going to start getting a little weird.
We're gonna start getting a little.
With the format, we're already there normally. But with this show, the general idea is each week one of us puts forward a piece of media or an experience that they know of, or that they've gone through already, and shows it to everyone else for the first time. That doesn't always quite work out that way. Sometimes it's something other people already know about, or they've heard of, or have experienced. But it's like, we're all pretty different. Like our only real through line, like the only thing we all have in common is that we all play video games. They're not the same games, and and the other thing is we just happen to know each other, and that's it.
And
Like,
that's debatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't live in the same area, but and we're close in age, too.
Yeah.
I'll say is-
but like even just within this room, we've got a 3-year age range.
We all have the same last name. Yeah. Oh no, that's just you and I.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. We get that mixed up.
Wait, you
sometimes.
guys are brothers?
Yeah,
That's a
spoiler,
fucking
yeah.
spoiler.
Sorry, spoiler alert. There's a
damn it.
dramatic reveal later on in
I'm
the show.
the crime one.
So
And you spoiled it more than I did.
One of the
crime?
brothers is a crime one.
there's a crime.
So much more shadow.
Yeah,
It's all going to poop.
this movie that you love is being reduced to Cam by Cam to one of the brothers is the crime one.
I mean, it's a pretty good summary.
Okay, well, something that Cam and I were talking about
Hopefully
last
pull
night,
that
or
out.
quick before we get into the weeks, is you want people to understand a movie even if they've never seen any other movie before. But if they've seen one movie before and they sort of get how a movie works, when someone says something like that, what do you think that one movie that everyone has seen is? Because Cam put forward a very interesting take last night.
I'm not gonna guess. What
Cam said, yes, I've seen one movie before, and it's Adam Sandler's Click.
Oh, I have that on the brain. Oh, well, you'll probably cut that out. I mentioned it earlier before the episode officially started. So I just got Click on the brain now.
So, Alex, what have you been up to this week?
Yeah, so I watched some fucking anime, some weeb ass garbage,
Never
dude.
heard of it.
I watched a Netflix show. It's kind of getting popular. Agaretsuko or
Oh, dude, I watched
Oh,
2
yeah.
episodes of that today. I was
Yeah.
gonna
Is
talk about
it good?
It's
cute and
pretty
funny.
cool.
Okay.
It's about a cute mascot character who
It's
is
by
a-
Sanrio.
Yeah.
Hello
Oh,
Kitty.
nice.
Yeah.
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 And she's a red panda, and she absolutely fucking hates her job. So that's kind of the premise.
She works in an accounting firm.
Yes, she works in a shitty office and gets treated like shit all day. And then after work, she goes to a karaoke bar and sings death metal to to relieve her stress.
I saw a picture on Twitter or Tumblr or something like that, and it's her standing over her boss, and her boss is clutching his chest, and he goes, "One day you'll be a shitty boss too."
Yeah, that was one of the most real moments of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Actually,
That's-
Oh shit, I haven't
it was
gotten
good.
that far.
Spoilers. One of the brothers is you.
It's fun. 10 episodes long, only
The boss
15
is
minutes.
I've got
I recommend it. I think it's something that's relatable for a lot of people, even if you don't watch anime, because everyone's worked a shitty job, or everyone knows someone who is stuck in a shitty job.
I have seen some people online that have been extremely anti-anime, let's say, who really enjoy this show. It's not a traditional kind of show. It's a lot more...
I think it comes
yeah.
down to the relatable themes and the fact that it is kind of like a... I think they use the fact that it's like a cute character mascot show to its advantage to kind of talk about some stuff that would kind of feel weird in a normal show. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it works really well the way that they do it.
Like how BoJack Horseman disarms you with comedy and the fact that it's like a funny animal show to then talk about depression. Agretsuko does a similar thing, but it doesn't really have jokes. It doesn't disarm you with comedy. It's just like, look at all these cute characters. They're going to have a fun adventure. It's like, actually, no. This one's stuck in a dead-end job, and she doesn't know whether it's worth it to try and leave, or because then she'll have to move to a worse apartment. She can't afford her lifestyle. It's like just
the show definitely tackles some things that I think are universal and some things that I think are very focused on the problems that Japan has.
Yeah, like company loyalty is a huge thing over there.
When I was watching it, I was like, why doesn't she just quit? Like, she could find another job.
Yeah.
But it's like a Japanese cultural thing where, like, people don't quit. Like, you work a job and then you're supposed to stay there for a while. And that's just not something that, at least in America, happens, really.
And she's been there for 5 years already at the beginning of the show. So, like, a while is like a while, like a long time.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. That was the first thing I'm like, why does she put up with this?
Yeah.
but
It's interesting. I definitely recommend it. It's on Netflix. It's short. If
I think I'll actually probably check that out because
Yeah.
I liked watching Pop Team Epic when they put that into an anime because it was so short. Like I like those short episodes.
Yeah.
It was cool.
I think it's definitely worth it.
It's not the same
It's been
kind
getting
of comedy.
popular.
Right,
It's,
yeah.
It's on Netflix. Go
Yeah.
for it.
I
Yeah.
watched
fun.
the trailer, and the trailer looked interesting.
Yeah.
So.
The opening is all like fluffy, like pink and hearts and stuff like that, but then the whole theme song is like death metal.
Nice. That's great.
They do a pretty good job
It's
of
really
contrasting it.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's entertaining.
Yeah.
It actually reminded me of another short anime series, Detroit Metal City, in the fact that
That just came out today, right?
No.
David Cage's.
Oh, no.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, man, I have some shit to say about
It's
that.
that's more of a comedy show, but it does the whole kind of thing where the main character has a secret life as a metal star.
Nice.
But yeah, good stuff. Recommend it.
All right, George.
So I got a haircut. No,
see.
The listeners can't see that.
That's why he has to tell them.
Here, we'll describe it for you. It's George's hair is
It's a little shorter than it used to be.
it's short on the sides,
It's almost
with
as if-
buzz. Maybe
It's
like
growing
a
out of his
number
head.
2.
Hey, mine's
And
number
puffs up
Oh,
on the
nice.
top. He's got
I
some
got
nice
skin fade.
soft curls.
Basically, what had happened was Monday I was actually a guest on another podcast.
Trader.
Oh, if we're talking traders, then we got another one
Yeah,
sitting in our
there's
midst. Mister does one every week.
I'm like a one-time
Every
trader.
other
You got a
week.
Benedict
Okay.
Arnold over there.
Anyway, you were a guest on another podcast. You want to give them a shout out?
Yep, the Rough Night Movie Podcast. They're all cool. That's all. No, I'm just kidding. I have
That's it. They're just cool.
they're cool. No, but we watched The Howling Six for that podcast, and it's Howling Six, The Freaks, and that was a fun movie to watch. There was some stuff that I thought was funny because the whole point is there's like a freak show going on, and I started thinking of it like today's times, and I was like, I feel like a freak show would never fly, especially because one of the freaks was just like a transgender woman.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
like,
something
that
oh,
would
wow.
never
Yeah.
ever fly.
that would
anymore.
not go through well. And one of the freaks, I was like, oh my god, it's just a small Indian man. And then he had a third arm, and I was like, okay, that's, I guess.
But now we know that's like a lot of those things are just like medical conditions and not
Yeah.
like, look at this man, he's a freak of nature. How did this happen? Now we're
It's
just
like,
like,
he
oh,
grew
that
up
guy
poor
has
and
X
couldn't
conditions.
afford
Yeah.
a surgery that anyone in the first world could get.
Like the guy that looks like an alligator probably just has bad eczema or
jeez.
Was it I said it on the other show, Harlequin ichthyosis, I think, which I hope it's not
Yes.
ichthyosis because that's
It's-
hilarious
I think it's
if it is.
ichthyosis or like
Yeah, like
icky.
fish.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Ichthy.
like
okay.
like an ichthyologist.
Okay.
Wow.
Huh.
That's a
It's
word.
not a pescatologist. No, I'm just kidding. Pescatologist? Like a pescatarian?
I know, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm not looking it up.
I'm not going to look it up.
But in
What's
terms
that?
of in terms of cheesy bad horror movies, where does this rank for you? Like it was
It's up. I gave it a 6.9.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about the mythical 6
So
out of
it's
10 if we want.
pretty nice.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for sure. It was definitely a fun movie to watch. It's like something I would watch on TV and like would keep on in the background and then pay attention to every now and then. I definitely
How long was
enjoyed
it? I find those short. Those
hours and a half, maybe hour.
Yeah.
I watched it on YouTube and it was slightly sped up.
Nice.
So
Oh.
yes, I don't know how fast.
That's the intended experience. I think.
Yeah, I don't know
how
how long it
director
actually
said
is,
the
but
director of the YouTube video, anyway.
Yeah.
I've also been getting more into Tyler the Creator, just because he showed one of his newer songs on YouTube. He made it like back in March or February or something
made the
like
song?
that. He made the song.
What?
He made
Wow.
a song. Can you believe
Tyler
it?
the creator created the song.
No, he doesn't make music, dude. He makes clothes, which brings me on to my next point.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about those shoes, but I forgot.
Yeah, he has a shoe line coming out, the Golf the Floor, which is essentially just flowers, like flower patterns onto the shoes or onto
Sure.
the clothes. It looks pretty dope. There's
Are they
Clothes
Vans?
for girls.
yeah, they're Vans.
They're
Or
Vans?
or
'Cause-
Converse.
Converse, that's why.
It's a collab.
He collaborated with Vans before.
Yep.
And I think a lot like, when you see him, he's always wearing Vans. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, obviously this is a Vans collab. But then the shoe looks like it has the Puma thing
Yeah,
on it.
they
as
do.
the logo.
They look like Pumas,
But they're not Pumas
They're not.
or Vans, they're Converse.
They're
It's
Converse.
like, oh, okay.
That's
well, there are no
Yeah.
real rules with
Yeah, I
design
know,
because
but
you can
it's
just
like-
put whatever you want on
But
it.
you can tell, like, generally from afar, you could see a shoe that looks like an Adidas shoe. Like, no matter what, even if you change the emblem, a lot of the time they look like Adidas shoes.
Well, first it was going to be a Puma thing, and then that fell through.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
they were
we
just
went
like,
back
just
to
use the same
Vans.
design.
Yeah, we went back to Vans, and they're
No,
like,
no.
no, we don't want to do this. And then Converse is like, yeah, fine.
he pulled a big brain play and used all three of their designs in one shoe
Yeah.
and tossed them up, and then Converse is the only one that wanted them. But no, I think they look pretty cool. There's some interesting colorways. I actually want this one that's like sky blue and pink. I kind of like it.
All right.
I think it's pretty sweet.
I would think I like the red and blue ones, although I don't think they're really my style, that shoe. I don't think I'd...
They seem hard to pull off, but I feel like I can definitely buy clothes that it could just like.
I think you
casually
should
pull
get
off.
them because I like... You usually wear high tops, but you had, like, the other week you came over and you had the polo
little polo low
So
tops,
it's like it's like kind of the similar style of shoe. Did you ever have Vans before? Those skate lows?
I actually never had Vans. I had Nike skateboard with just random low top Nike skateboarding shoes, and I like those. I prefer high top shoes for sure, but I'm more and more interested in low tops. Partially because my girlfriend was like, "You look really good in low tops," and I was like, "Oh, all right."
Yeah, you have your own opinion, and then someone goes, "Oh, I think you look really good in this," and all of a sudden your entire opinion changes around that. Like,
do you remember when you first met me and I wore hats all the time?
Yeah.
Guess why I wore hats? Yeah. I wore a hat one time, and somebody told me I look good in hats, and I was like, "Huh," and it changed my life for 3 years.
I've been trying to pull off hats for like 2 years now. I have like 5 hats and I never wear them.
Hats are kind of hard.
I can't do it. And I like also when I go to like eat and stuff, I always take it off, and I'm like, do I still have to do this? Am I still doing that?
If I wear a hat with a brim and I'm like in a store or in a museum
I
or
immediately
something,
take it off.
no, I don't take them off.
Oh, really?
Take them off.
Oh.
I'll like lean over to look at something in a case, and I'll like bop my head up against it. I'm like, oh shit, that looks really stupid. Let me take this off.
I used to wear my hats backwards because of that. I was like, I'm gonna slap into too many
I look real
things.
bad with a backwards hat.
Some people do that at work because we wear baseball hats at work. So when you're like really close to something, you'll stick your entire brim of a hat in your cake, and it's like fuck.
Oh, and I bought I have a 2017 Honda Civic Sport.
Yeah,
Whoa.
gotta say it's
flexing on us.
And instead of I didn't buy any parts, I just bought some stuff to clean it better because I washed it. Yeah, I bought a hose, some soap. The spit hasn't been doing it.
Water's really expensive.
No, I just
dumping bottled water on your car.
It's really
anyone-
more expensive than soft drinks, and that baffles me.
if anyone's ever tried to wash the inside of their like their windows off with like a paper towel, and then you notice that dust gets everywhere, that's exactly what happened to me. I finished washing my car and I was super proud of it, and then I was like, oh man, I don't have any low-end cloths. Paper towels will do fine.
Nope.
So wrong. It's dust everywhere. It's dust in there now, and it frustrates me. So I bought like a microfiber towel.
Yeah, those are good. Those will work.
Yeah. So I'm soaked on it. That's pretty much it. I was just doing lame stuff, except for the podcast.
Did some shitty show at the dumb friends.
Terrible podcast.
Well, I hope if they ask you what you've been up to on somebody else's podcast, you say, well, yeah, I do this piece of shit every week. Honestly, just go there out of obligation. You know how
I
it
hate
is.
those people.
I talked in a room with some fucking nerds. No, but the Rough Night Movie podcast is cool. Allison, Jonas, and Kyle, all homies. Definitely check them out. They're cool too. But check us out more.
Hey,
They already are.
This
If
is
you're
something.
currently checking us out, check us out more.
Yeah, if you're currently checking us out, I do want to say, listen to an episode on
At
a
double
topic
speed.
that you don't recognize. I see a lot of people. I have
On
seen
double
people.
speed.
I have seen people just go like, "Oh, I know what this is, so I can listen to this episode." And it's like you can listen to another episode.
Yeah.
We will like occasionally when it's a story based thing, we'll get into spoilers, but it's more of like the whole point of the show is to introduce somebody to something. So what do you got?
Also, if anyone wants to write into the show, tell me your opinion on the Golf LaFleur shoes, because I'm not sure which colorway exactly I
Send
want.
us
I
an
think
email.
I want.
Oh
the pink
man,
and blue
listeners
one.
are going to
I think you should
decide
get
your
the pink and
shoes.
blue.
But I want. Yeah, I think I want the pink and blue too. But
Okay, so
check
we're
them
gonna,
out.
so
The next email that comes in that says either the word pink or blue.
we'll decide.
That's the deciding.
Spam or not?
Spam counts.
Get the pink ones, but not the blue ones.
Steph, you had something to
they're the same.
Oh, I was gonna say what Nick was saying.
Oh, I thought you were mocking me when you put your hand.
No. I was gonna say that if you don't recognize the topic, go ahead and read, watch, play that topic, and then listen to the show, and write into us what you thought, and
Yeah. You don't always have to like do it beforehand. So, like we don't talk about the whole thing a lot of time, unless it's Stereo Sex where we talk about the entire thing. But like we want to introduce each other to this stuff, but hopefully that means that you will give it a shot too, especially the stuff that's easy to access, like Comedy Bang Bang or these albums if you have Spotify. Like it's just something new for you to add to whatever it is your normal routine is. It's something to check out, and if you think like, wow, I can't believe those people on that show liked this piece of garbage so much, write in, tell us. We got an email, pleasedontcast@gmail.com. We've received some listener mail, but not on the email. People have just personally sent me things that they thought about the show, which is fine, I guess, but not really the point.
So please write into the show, MMA format only.
Yeah, physical script, longhand.
Don't see citations.
We need it by carrier pigeon. There's no other way.
Keep your words in alphabetical order.
Yeah. All right, goofball, you wanted to get into your...
Speaking of which, I wrote a joke for the first time in a long time. I don't know if it's because...
You need some new material.
I need some new material. I don't know if it's because I'm going to the open mics less, because I don't want to drive to Providence, which is an hour away, to go and do 5 minutes of jokes I've already done. Like, if you don't think of anything new, you can just go back and...
Sometimes it's worth it just to grind, though. I would drive an hour away for all of $3. Oh, sometimes all of $3 in Super Smash Bros.
I know I should, but I don't want to. You know what I mean? And, like, on my weekends, I don't want to go and do that shit.
It's especially because it's times for you. Like, you want to relax.
It's time-consuming, yeah. And then, like, driving, and then, like, a Melee tournament, you're there...
I'm there for a while.
Yeah. For the open mic, if nobody else shows up, I go up, do 5 minutes, maybe I'm there an hour.
Yeah.
And then I drive back. Like, it kind of sucks.
So, how was the experience of writing this new joke?
Pretty good. I thought of it, and then I wrote it down. That was good.
It's pretty riveting.
It's pretty good, but I was just going to do the joke. If that's
let's hear
It's going to be really awkward, and you don't have to laugh.
Is
I
it
can
funny?
cut out all the build-up.
Is it funny?
No.
Is it?
Ask me when the joke is the punchline.
Well, tell me when it's
punchline.
funny.
Okay, I'll tell you when it's funny.
Is it
All
funny
right.
yet?
No. Stand by. All right. I don't really get people that like choking during sex because it's dangerous, but also it seems complicated and like hard to multitask. Like I don't know what food to use. Like if it's supposed to be, you want something handheld, but it not to be messy. But it really comes back to the danger part of it because like I can't always remember the Heimlich, so you want a sign up, like a warning sign. And I gotta say, there's nothing more of a warning sign to a girl when she comes in my room than the warning sign. And that's it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The mix-up of it being choking on food is really good.
It fits well into the rest of your set, which is a lot of you going like, so it's you do a good bit where you're like pretending to be one of those comedians who's like, I don't understand why this is this, why you drive on a parkway and park on a driveway, but all your things are like nonsense where there's the misunderstanding is
I
critical.
don't understand why these football players are kneeling there.
No.
Hot takes.
Spoilers for our own show. Eventually, we might do going to an open mic as the experience.
I thought you were going to say kneel during the anthem.
Yeah, we will.
You can do that from home.
I'll do it.
We're gonna have like a 10-minute episode.
Be on a professional
Put
football
the national
team.
anthem on right now. We're all
No,
kneeling right
that's
now.
gonna happen next week because Kem's putting it in his fucking drop.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
I'll be kneeling during it.
But anyway,
fight some drunk dad.
That's where that joke kind of comes from, is because those open mics, there's always, Alex knows because he went to one with me. It's like you guys came with me to a show, which was more real. But Alex and I went to an open mic in New London, and all the jokes are all about poop, dicks, and poop and sex, and like it gets so irritating that nobody has like a dumb
Or racism.
There's usually a lot of racism, but it's usually
Classic
like
joke.
like the one that I did about the colored pencils.
Yeah.
That comes from every joke is like someone complaining about something progressive and then saying, but that's fine if you want to do that. Like then they double back on it. It's it gets really boring. So I think that'll fit in hopefully at an open mic because all the jokes are about that, low bar, low hanging fruit stuff.
There's a lot of dumb people. So a lot of dumb people love low hanging fruit.
Oh my god! What you were saying about the other comedians at those open mics. This week at the current events discussion forum
Now that's an open mic.
At the
If you can get me a spot at that.
at the retirement home I work at. So this week the topic was parenting, and oh man, I wish they had printed out the topic list like before, but I only got to listen in on brief bits, and a couple of them got absolutely trashed, which I thought was funny. Like, they had a bunch of drinks before they went to the current events discussion, and then they're like, "Hey, can we order wine from you guys?" And I'm like, "What?
What?
This week for the 9th year in a row, the topic is Obama. And ruining this country.
Fucking liberals, am I right?
There are some rich liberals there, but that doesn't mean they don't have some shit to say. But one of the things that they brought up was like, well, the reason that kids are so disrespectful these days is because they're being raised by single parents. And I'm like, what year is it?
Confusing.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be about the computers or something.
I'm sure that came up, but I wasn't in the room for that.
It's all these violent video games that millions of kids play.
Yeah,
it's all these kids on Vine. You know, Vine is ruining... Oh, wait, that's over? Oh, never mind. It's fine. Kids are good again.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, somebody is absolutely convinced that they have the only worldview that makes any sense and that everyone else has gone crazy. And they're like, I don't understand why we don't just beat our kids again. Like,
they beat me and I turned out fine. I want to beat kids.
Yeah. Sure, every serial killer ever was beaten when they were a kid, but that doesn't mean they produce more.
Correlation does not equal causation.
Yeah.
What am I going to use all these belts for?
You done, Cam?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right.
So what I did this week was basically the same thing I've done every week, which is play Stardew Valley. And I actually watched, right before I got here, I was like, what am I going to do to kill time? And I decided to watch Agretzko, which Alex already talked about.
It'd be
and
funny
actually,
if you were like, I watched The Raid Redemption.
I watched The Raid Redemption. I didn't even know we were doing it for this
I've been waiting for someone to pull the power move of just talking about the thing, because that's what they did this week.
Surprised Alex didn't.
But I also did some work on a story I've kind of had left by the wayside for a few years, which is about two medieval mercenaries. One is a gay woman pretending to be a man and a gay man pretending to be a straight man, and how much they hate each other, and it's kind of like a buddy comedy. Of course they hate each other first and then they're buddies. But I haven't been happy with it for a long time, so I've been working on rewriting the beginning, giving them some redesigns, just...
Do you think you'll do it in webcomic form?
That was the original intention. But to make things easier, I actually had the comic printed for my senior show.
That makes sense.
I know people who did actually do it in webcomic form and had like a projector projecting on a wall.
Real quick, what if you did on your senior show, you did the webcomic, and then you had your website up on the on a screen
That's
at
what
the
she
show.
did. Yeah.
But then you had ads all over the fucking thing. It's just flooded with ads.
This game will make you come.
Oh, God. That would be...
Simpsons poured border around the entire thing.
Hot ladies want to fuck you in
Grunt.
Oh, no, wait, what's the Yukon area? Like the stores, CT, Yukon campus area?
Meet me at farm.
Willimantic area.
Willimantic area.
That's where we had our show. It would be really bad if they want to fuck you in the Willimantic area, because that's
they would fuck you up, dude.
They would fuck you up. Big drugs.
Come to the area code if you want an ass kick.
Big drugs.
I stop saying big drugs.
Large
big drugs.
Oh, it's gonna be in my drop next week.
Oh boy, I'll send you the clip of Seb saying big drugs.
But yeah, I'm having fun with that so far, and I hope I have something to show for it at some point. So yeah, that's what I did this week.
All right. A couple weeks ago, I talked about starting System Shock 2, and I went on a long tangent that we cut from the show.
Yeah. So you guys won't remember that. We all remember it fondly.
Oh, yeah. Made one joke about door codes and video game protagonists rifling through our drawers, and how audio logs in real life would be way more disappointing because they wouldn't tell you anything. Because in real life, the only thing... Yeah, the only well, no, that part's still.
Oh, all right, good.
The stuff that wasn't in was me talking about, hey guys, I started this new game called System Shock. It's a game where you use guns to fight robots, and I decided not to use any guns and only use
fight the robots.
only use
Still
psychic
got the
powers.
robots.
Still gotta fight the robots.
Can't figure
And I was
out how
like,
to beat
why is this
them.
game so hard? And Alex made the helpful decision of telling me, dude, you gotta use a gun, and I'm like,
gun.
I don't know if that sounds right,
You
but
have
okay,
to,
I'll trust
shoot
you.
a dude.
I'll trust you because we're friends, and I have since played the rest of the game, and it was a lot easier when you use the things that the game tells you to use. I thought it was going to be more like a game where you can sort of choose to play however you want, like even kind of like Deus Ex, where you can pick different play styles and like use heavy weapons the whole game if you want. It's not great, but you can still, there's nothing that the game will stop you from doing. If you don't have a little bit of everything in this game, a little bit of psychic, a little bit of technology, and a little bit of weapons, you're screwed. The final boss cannot be beaten unless you have the hacking skill. So if you go through the whole game without it, then
It's one of the.
It's one of those games.
Yeah.
It's.
Can you soft lock yourself that way, or can you go back and train it up?
I don't know because
I
there's no.
haven't played the game enough to really know, but that
There
is one of the biggest criticisms of the game is that you can get to a certain point where you cannot continue. If
That's
you
a
don't-
pretty
do not invest
big
your skills
problem
right.
with the game, I
Yeah.
would say. Is
I
like,
definitely,
if
yeah.
the game forces you to stop playing it because you made the wrong decision that it didn't advertise, then that's like,
It's pretty bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the game, the whole last act is really crazy,
Yeah,
and
it's-
I did enjoy the experience on the whole once I learned that that there was a wrong way to play it, and that that's what I was doing. But I just want to talk about something that's been making me laugh ever since I finished it, which is when the whole game you're playing from first-person perspective. You don't know what your character looks like, and at the very end of the game, it flips the camera around a little bit to show your character, and you look so dumb.
The stupidest, goofiest motherfucker in the world.
So, imagine a man made of cardboard, which is fine for the era. That's okay. Everyone's going to look like that. But the edges aren't like the sides of his face. It's his nose. So it bends in towards, like, the front of his face. There's a flat cone on, like, on the front of his face.
That is so
and
funny.
the way you can tell that he's been cybernetically modified, which is a big plot point in the game, is that it looks like he's wearing headphones over his eyes.
Yeah.
I think when you posted him in the Discord, you called him a Batman digital justice ass motherfucker.
Yeah.
Wait, I missed that.
Yeah. I think I said...
In the
good.
main channel?
Yeah. And I think I called him a cyber ass, digital justice
Oh,
ass
yeah,
looking
it is.
motherfucker.
Yeah, if you guys have
Oh,
listened
Cam's
to our
looking at
first
him right now.
episode,
He's good.
I'll
That
put a
was
link
the
to it
first
in the
thing.
description of this episode.
Yeah. Or,
Techno ass.
Yeah. So, the other thing...
Yeah, the other thing.
Oh, God. No, nothing else that I talk about this week is going to be just looking at
Oh,
that
all
guy.
right. Well, I thought you were going to point out the only line ever uttered by the main character in the whole game.
Oh, yeah. So,
Feel his drink.
no, this character has never spoken, and you have no idea what he might sound like, right? So, what? so you get to the end of the game, and after you have the villain at your mercy, and they're like, "Oh, please, I can do so much more for you. I can make you so powerful. You have no idea. Please, one more time, we'll join together, and everything will be okay. You have no idea how good I can make things for you." And it zooms in on this techno-ass, stupid-looking motherfucker guy, and he goes, "Nah."
It is the best thing ever.
It's so good, and the tone is way off from what I thought the game would
That
be
is
like.
insane.
The game has taken itself so seriously up to this point. Like, there are sections where it's like, oh, this is a horror game.
Like, that is played as a joke, right? Him saying nah.
It is like incredibly cheesy. I could not think that
There's
the
no
people,
way.
Yeah, you could not have thought this would be a cool way to end it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they'll think our
They
protagonist
made
is
it
a
this far. We have to
badass.
reward them. Nah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, this guy that you have no, like, concept of who he is at all. It's just like, oh, this is the player avatar. It's me.
Yeah.
I get to choose a little bit of the backstory. I have played the game how I wanted up to a point through this whole game. You get to the end. It's like you don't expect them to really say anything, and then it reveals that you look like a stupid idiot the whole time.
That's on you.
And then you're like, You're like a blue collar Brooklyn worker. It's just like, nah, we're good. We good. Let's see it. It's just so goofy.
It's great.
It's good. System Shock 2, highly recommended from me.
After I finish Deus Ex, maybe I'll try that.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's a fun game.
It's old and cheap.
It's old, it's cheap, and it's goofy. Well, it's only goofy at the end. Everything else is very serious and fun. The other stuff that I did this week, because Cam didn't bring it up, I'm not going to bring it up. We won't go into it. So we're going to take a quick break to check the audio and get drinks.
During our breaks?
Well, that's what I'm gonna do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, no, we're pretty good this time because nobody is facing directly towards the window.
Right. We'll
Like
fix
that.
You
that.
mean like
Yes, like that.
That
like
didn't
that.
show up, and they didn't.
Yeah, nobody could hear what you
It's
just
just
said.
silent on it. No.
All right, so we're gonna take a brief break,
audio-
and we'll
an
be
audio
right back
vampire.
with George's episode on The Raid.
He's the cream of the cop. You're gonna spend a long time behind bars. He's cooked every crook he's come up against. Chief, you know there's no job I can't handle. But now, it's you he's up against his past.
Oh ho ho ho! Long time no see, regular brother.
And maybe, Crime Brother, what are you doing here? You'll learn. I don't like it, but it looks like we're gonna have to work together. That blood. Crime Brother!
Don't come back for me, regular brother.
Is thicker than justice. Crime Brother. Coming this summer.
We now return with The Raid Redemption on Please Don't Listen to This. Your life depends on it.
I don't know how Obama would say "then perish."
Then perish.
Then perish. Then perish.
Somebody I was following on Twitter said that they would absolutely watch a Let's Play channel if Obama was doing it, and I'm like, hell yeah.
Obama would
yeah.
be the
Because
coolest streamer.
because like his greatest strength is his public speaking. Like
Yeah.
he's
We're gonna
so
hop into
good.
some Fortnite real quick.
We're dropping
Where
boys.
was
We're gonna do beers for subs. We're gonna do
We're
drum
going
tracks
to
for subs.
unseal a Sub-Zero.
That's horrible.
yeah, accurate.
Yeah,
I'm here
yeah, you
playing.
can do that.
5 nights at Freddy's, and I've heard that this game can get pretty scary at times.
I think when Obama gets scared and like yells, he would sound like Hank Hill.
Whoa! All right, so George, you want to give us a little bit of an intro for this movie that you chose for us?
Yep.
I'm gonna have to cut out like 2 minutes of us goofing off.
Whoa.
No, I don't have to cut out any of that, but I do have to cut out us talking about which Snapchat version we're on. And
I'm
that shit.
trying to put an emoji in Discord. It's way more sophisticated.
All right, George, hit us up.
The Raid Redemption is a 2011 action movie, Indonesian action movie, with a lot of martial arts influence. I would call it a martial arts movie. Some people I feel like wouldn't.
Yeah, it's got a lot in there. I think calling it a martial arts movie makes sense.
Yeah. the
And-
beginning isn't
yeah.
very martial artsy, but then
It
towards
gets there.
yeah, it gets there. And
Yep.
the martial art that they're using is Pencak Silat,
Silat, I think.
Silat. Martial arts. It's an umbrella term, but those are some martial arts from Indonesia, and I really like this movie just because I grew up watching a lot of martial arts movies. I watched so much like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan. Not only that, I watched. Actually, the movies that are closer related to this, I'm gonna wait till the end. But I just grew up watching a lot of martial arts movies. So essentially, what happens in this film is a squadron of Indonesian like SWAT guys go into these slums, and they have to kill this one guy, whose name is Tamariadi, and he's the big dog slumlord. He's the Slumdog Millionaire, and
Oh, he's in this movie.
in this
Yeah,
movie,
he looks so
different.
in this movie, the Red Dead Redemption.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I was waiting
Oh,
until
that's
that
a-
joke
yeah, I
got
was
pulled
waiting for
out.
That was the mix-up. I wanted you guys to play Red Dead Redemption, actually.
Oh shit!
Fuck.
7 out of 10. Game story is well done. Action is good, but unfortunately it doesn't work, so that mars a lot of it.
Good.
Zombie one
cowboy.
worked pretty well.
Oh, I was playing that. There is a glitch where the zombies will spawn without heads, and because of that, they cannot be killed.
What?
Yes.
I didn't see that.
I wish
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah.
I wish I had no head and couldn't be killed. So this SWAT team has to go in and kill this guy, and that's essentially
Thankfully, he has a head.
Has a head, so he can
Thankfully,
be
he
killed.
does have a head, which comes into play later.
You might,
Foreshadowing.
you might say it's a little bit of foreshadowing that he has a head.
And
Spoilers.
that's honestly the best way to lead up to the movie. It's pretty cut and dry, but it's good. I like
now,
it.
see, I thought they were going to go do the raid, and then they were going to have the redemption, but it's all one thing.
Yeah, that's the raid.
I think
Yeah.
they added it. They added redemption just because
Yeah, they
it was
added
an
the
American
sub-
release.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, usually they do.
Yeah,
So
they did.
I was expecting a two-part film, basically.
Yeah,
Well, not
yeah.
two movies, but raid, then redemption.
Yeah,
but, you know.
well, in a way that there's a redemption, as
Yeah.
has been spoiled in the show already.
Oh my God.
One of the main characters, Rama, his
He
brother,
has a brother.
he has a brother
Boom.
who is a
Spoilers.
crime brother, just like Luigi
And Tails.
and Tails.
Wait.
He's big
Yes.
into crime. You don't think that Tails isn't an illegal arms dealer?
Wait, that's not the problem I have with
He
that
probably
sentence.
Tails
did.
is Knuckles' brother.
So, Cam and I are brothers. Spoilers for the listener.
Yeah.
When we were
Fuck,
kids,
collusion.
when we were kids,
We were kids at the same time.
We were kids at the same time. True, that's a thing about being brothers.
What?
They don't tell you that before you get a brother. It's the rules.
It's in the fine print.
Yeah.
actually.
That's the fucking worst.
So, we had a bunch of comics where Wolverine and Spider-Man teamed up, and Spider-Man was his favorite, and Wolverine was my favorite, and we were like, oh, well, they're brothers, right?
We're
Because-
brothers.
But yeah, we're brothers.
They're brothers.
We're brothers, and they're our favorite, so they're brothers, right?
Yeah.
And we thought it was really cool that they were brothers, and we had no
And it still
information that
is.
supported that, and
But they are.
we didn't think it for any.
Right, they are.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. We don't want to confuse our
Got
listeners.
it, all right.
Wolverine and Spider-Man are brothers, just like Tails and Knuckles. So,
And Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr.
Oh man.
so-
I do think though that it's called redemption, the raid redemption, because the brother sort of redeems himself at the end.
Yeah.
Because he grows up he doesn't grow up as a criminal. He becomes this criminal that's helping out the big guy, the big Slumdog Millionaire, and he ends up saving his brother and the rest of his brother's squad, which it's not that many of them left towards the end, but he does his best to save
All
the people.
two of them.
Yeah, I think it is like two of them. And
And one of them has
is-
been
Well,
shot.
yeah,
yeah, one of them's horribly hurt. He's
The
bleeding
other one
like
is
green
the fucking
gunk.
sergeant who shouldn't have lived anyway, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
So, before we get, we already got into like specific plot moments, but one of the things I wanted to say is that you brought up how they added the redemption subtitle for the American release.
Yeah.
They did a lot of work for the American release. Not all of it good.
Also true.
Yeah, and that's something that we're going to get into more of when we get into Seb's impressions.
Because she's American.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Sorry
I'm the only
for spoiling
American
that.
Right.
Yeah,
Nick and I are brothers, but we're not American.
there's
Again-
so much lore in this
Again, they don't
episode.
tell you the real.
Yeah.
We're really revealing a lot about our backstories here.
Behind the
You can't
scenes
be American and brothers.
Actually,
at the same
Seb, do
time.
you want to start us off with your impressions?
Sure.
Because that'll go right
Jump right
into
in.
talking about like the differences in the American version, the stuff that you were talking about with us earlier in the week.
Yeah. So first of all, we argued about whether Mike Shinoda's soundtrack was also featured in
So
the
dumb.
Indonesian
It's
movie.
so this is the dumbest argument that either of us could have solved with like 2 Google searches.
Should,
Hypothetically, if there was someone who didn't know who this person
Yeah.
was,
right,
So-
as if they were in this room.
Mike Shinoda,
I was only
toss
known
it
from
out there.
this.
Japanese American, I think like second generation or something like that, third
I got that
generation.
from his name.
Okay.
Pretty racist, Cam.
Oh, Mike
No, I'm
being his
kidding.
first name.
It's Mike Shinoda.
Oh, now it's racist.
That makes sense.
He was a co-vocalist for Linkin Park and behind a lot of the composing electronic stuff going on in the back. So for the American release, and I guess the rest of the world besides Indonesia, it looks like.
Yeah.
Indonesian
One for the
character.
wide release of the film.
Yeah, for the worldwide release of the film, except Indonesia, he scored the film. And I really actually like his soundtrack quite a lot.
It's the only one that got a CD
what,
release.
What
Yeah.
score did he give the film?
6 out of 10.
Wow,
Nice.
Good score.
Good score. But yeah, so the version I watched was, well, okay. First of all, apparently there's a really bad English dub to go along with the release where his music was on it.
I really wanted to watch the dub.
But
You can?
I rented the
should.
movie on YouTube, and it had Mike
What?
Shinoda's soundtrack. Yeah,
I could have sent
I've
you the
never
torrent.
didn't know people did that.
I could do that.
It's constantly advertising to me to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you don't do it though.
It was cheap, so I did it.
I usually did it on Amazon because they were like $3 or $4. I guess.
That-
This
It was
one's
the
also-
same.
It was like,
yeah.
It was like $4.
Right.
there's like one that's more expensive, and it's not YouTube or Amazon.
It's Click. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think you meant one service.
No, that's what I meant.
Click the online movie watching service.
Adam Sandler movie?
Adam
Quick is
Sandler's
$59.99 to rent.
proprietary Netflix service.
Sorry, yes, sorry.
Yeah. So I was like, watching the movie with the Indonesian voice audio, but Mike Shinoda's
Oh.
music. So at the end when the credits showed up and it was like music by Mike Shinoda, I was like, yo, Mike Shinoda did the music for here, and I posted that in the Discord. So I like that. I like the soundtrack. I did find some of the original soundtrack, and that was good too, but they never did a real release of it. Anyway, so overall, like the movie, I thought it was pretty good. It's still not my type of movie. In general, I don't normally watch things that are like mainly focused on the action. I like action in movies, but it's like not the thing I'm normally focused on.
It was like the big focus of this movie.
It's like that it is an action movie, like
Yeah.
a martial arts movie.
Yeah, it's like, hey, do you guys want to watch a 2-hour fight scene? And Cam and I are like, yeah.
I tend to tune that out. I don't.
That's totally understandable. It's not like there you want a lot of people go to watch a movie because they want a little bit of everything. They want some story, they want some action, they want somebody to say a funny joke right before the action happens.
There's jokes in this. There's some jokes in this. So, but Seb, you in particular were like more story aspects, and this is very thin on that. This is like, hey, we got to kill this guy.
Yeah,
All right, that's the story.
Yeah, I wish there was more story behind that because they hinted at a lot of stuff. Like the lieutenant was like with he sent them in for no reason and nobody really
So we get
told
really
them
gas
to do
promotion.
Yeah.
They do. Are you about to get to that? They explain that later.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I must have missed it
the
because
big
I
boy
was
just like mansplains what he was gonna do
Yeah.
when he has him hostage.
At the end, when Tama's being held hostage by the lieutenant. And Tama's like, hey, what? Yeah, you really think you're gonna like? You know who sent you guys in, right? They sent you
were
in to
fucking set
die.
up,
Yeah,
you know?
you were set up by your higher ups. You
Okay,
think
I
this
guess
is
that-
to help you get higher, but
I-
you won't because they'll always try to kill you.
I
Yeah.
thought he was bluffing, kind of. Well, not really bluffing, but like
did
kind
have
of
a gun pointed
taunting
at his
him.
head.
Yeah, but
Well, he definitely was taunting him. But I don't
yeah,
think he
but
was,
taunting
I
with,
wasn't
like,
sure
the
that
truth.
that was like really true.
He had no reason
Yeah.
to lie in that situation because he had like he was probably gonna die. I mean,
Yeah.
he was definitely trying to not die, but
Yeah, but
As you do.
yeah.
But,
That's the point of
speak
life,
for
really.
yourself.
Yeah.
What is the meaning of life?
Life's a
than
big
to not
contest
try
to see
die?
who can not die.
anyway, like I was kind of surprised by I guess this is me just not watching a lot of live action movies from other countries. I didn't realize that there were so many good actors in Indonesia. I mean, by so many, I mean maybe about 5 in this movie who were like really doing acting, and the rest of them were just kind of like shooting guns.
Guys who are stunt doubles that do like amazing stunts.
Yeah.
They get bent over a concrete railing.
Yeah.
A lot of
that
it
was-
is
It was sick. That was good.
because for the most, like, you don't understand the language. None of us do. So a lot
Except
of
for me.
why that except for Cam, aka
I can speak it, but I don't want it.
Cam the Indonesian man. A lot of it, a lot of the acting skill that you see in it, even though it's not necessarily like these guys got crazy acting chops, you do see some talent there because of their body language, which is really accentuated by the fact that you don't speak the language. So how else are you going to get these emotions? And like Tama, for example, immediately right off the bat, he's pretty intimidating. Even besides the fact that he executes like 4 people in his first scene.
Yeah.
He's it was a cool scene, but he's a pretty intimidating guy from the way he carries himself and the way he speaks, even in this tongue that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I totally agree with you. And I also liked some of the lines, even though they might not be direct translations.
They might not be ones.
I still liked even how they handled the subtitles for some things, like the guy who was really more into hand-to-hand combat than shooting guns.
Mad Dog.
Mad Dog, he like takes his gun apart and he's like, I never liked using these things. Pulling a trigger is like ordering takeout.
Yeah.
I thought that was like, ooh, like
That's a
that.
good
This
line.
guy's crazy about this shit.
Also, not fucking around. A lot of times in a movie when they're like, oh, this guy, he's the best at hand-to-hand combat, and then, you know, fucking Nathan Drake or Mr. Mission Impossible or whatever still beats him in a fight with no problems. In this movie, they build somebody up as good at hand-to-hand combat, and they show you, and he shows off, he does some shit.
He kills the second protagonist, actually, right off the bat. Well, not off the bat, but...
No, they had a pretty intense fight.
Yeah, but he got, like... He got wrecked. It was
He got
intense,
fucked up.
but he got like Mad Dog. It's great. The character Mad Dog's cool because he's this tiny guy that he's a little bit intimidating just because he has this long hair and he looks bummy. So you're like, this guy doesn't give a fuck about anything,
right.
and it's true because he does not. And it's shown in his fighting.
Fucking monster.
Yep.
He's
crazy.
actually a monster.
He's like, oh, I joined this crime lord's gang because I want to beat people up. And as long as he allows me to do that, I will stay here.
not
Like-
just beat people up. He wants to kill people with his bare hands.
Yes.
and that
sick.
he's
sick.
very
He's a sick person. He's insane.
He's a mad dog.
yeah.
Whoa. I never
But
got that.
well,
Just kidding.
I also liked how they brought back around. You know how first main character,
Rama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rama and his brother are like kind of hiding in a room for a second, and so crime brother, what's his name?
I don't think they ever actually
Pretty
dropped
sure
it.
it was
No,
Crime
it's-
Brother.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
just say
they
Crime
actually
Brother.
drop it,
Rama
but I
and
don't
Drama?
remember it.
Whoa.
Rama and Drama.
Damn.
Just say Crime Brother.
But Banana Rama.
Crime Brother is so good. I can't believe there's not a movie that's just called that.
Crime Brother. But the Crime Brother's like, okay, you should get us change of clothes so that, you know, people aren't like, oh,
Yeah, we
that's
can
the
walk out of
military
here.
police that's kill him. And so Rama's just like, no, I'm wearing this. And Crime Brother's like, why? And Rama goes, it fits me. And then they
Like,
come back
There's
around.
no other size
say
that
it at
really.
the end of the movie.
That was a dumb
Say it.
Yeah. But, you know, that's Rama's pride, and he doesn't want to stoop to the level of,
He doesn't want to disguise
Sneak
himself
around,
as
yeah.
a crime
Very
brother
just.
to get out.
yeah.
Really, there's
It
two
did
crime
fit him.
brothers.
Like, he looked very good in that black shirt.
He does look like some buff stuff.
Yeah. So then at the very end, Rama asks his brother to come with him. And his brother's like, no. Rama goes, why? Brother goes, same reason you wear that. This fits me. And I was like, what?
And then they do the cool slow motion walk past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crime Brother's just like smiling to himself, and Rama's just,
I was waiting for somebody to get fucking shot.
I know,
At the end
it's-
of that movie.
yeah.
It was a weird ending in that.
It
They're
was
like,
It
It was kind of sudden to me.
Yeah.
I thought it was because they were just like, hey, and now you're out. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
they're like, and
okay.
what do we do? It's like, well, I'll keep doing crime, and half your squad's dead.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, sick.
Bye.
No, like,
Yeah, more
all
than
of
that,
your squad except for 2 of you.
Yeah. Right.
And I think it is kind of fine though because of the fact that spoilers. It is revealed that this was an assassination mission, a 2-way assassination mission, they were, well, I guess that team was sent to kill Tama, but really they were all sent to die, especially the lieutenant. So this was off the books. No one was supposed to know about this. Think of if you've seen the Netflix series The Punisher, which also I think takes an influence in these fight scenes.
Absolutely.
Most of the Marvel Netflix series, well, not most. I'm not going to say Iron Fist.
We're gonna say Iron Fist is the one that should have taken inspiration.
I'd say definitely Daredevil.
Fight scene.
I was pretty much done. I was gonna say, even though I'm not really into action films, I mean pure action films, I thought it was pretty fun, even though it's a pretty dark movie. I thought it was fun to watch. It was fun to watch. I liked it. I think the writing, as far as I could tell, was pretty good for the
what
characters.
It is.
Yeah. I liked it.
Good. Happy to hear.
Yeah.
Cam, what do you have to say about this movie?
Yeah, bitch. Actually, you're up. Oh no, okay. I was like, you'd be up at. Oh no, yeah, you would be up in the same amount.
Yeah.
Not really.
Because Alex, for the listener, is 2 seats to my left.
To your right.
Oh, right. Anyway, that's going to be our worst ongoing joke.
Something that doesn't make any sense to somebody who's not in the room. It's just the order in which we are sitting.
It's going to be the same every episode. Our listeners are going to internalize it.
Yeah, we don't have to sit this way every time.
We
do.
No,
we do. After, what is this, 6 in a row?
Yeah. We'll get the video podcast and the joke will make sense.
Mm-hmm. This is 6 in a row.
So
this
Cam,
is episode 10.
What was this movie about?
Okay, so I liked it. One thing that I could not stop thinking about, and I'm sure it was the same for Nick, is there's the movie Dredd, which is the character Judge Dredd. Have you seen that, George?
Yes, I
love that movie. I am the law.
He does say that.
I thought he says I am Dredd.
Nope.
No?
But the plot of the movie is he has to go take down, him and his squad, right, have to go take down.
It might just be him and his partner.
Yeah, it's him and his partner.
Oh, really? There's no other
girl.
judges? I think there were other judges in the beginning.
No, not in the beginning. They show up later as backup. And
all right,
that
that's
doesn't go great.
Okay, so him and his partner have to go take down this notorious drug lord at the top of a building, and the whole movie takes place in that building. Mm-hmm. So the whole movie is them going from the bottom floor to the top floor with doing gunfights in close quarters, and there's not really that movie is not a martial arts
guns.
Movie. Yeah, it's not at all.
They're both similar in the sense that they take place in buildings and you're trying to go up to kill the crime lord. And
it's in the horrible part of town.
And something
even
that
the residents want to kill the guy.
Exactly. Yeah. Something that strikes me. Something that strikes me.
Let's get over that after the show.
About both movies is oh my god, cut this. Okay. I forgot, I lost it. Okay, go.
So in Dredd,
I got it.
Okay, go on.
Okay, it is about the spectacle.
Keep all that in.
It is about the spectacle. It is less so. I mean, Dredd probably has a little bit of better story, but it's all about the spectacle.
I wouldn't say so.
I think so. I think so, but it's not like I would say The Raid is a worse movie because of it. It's just something that The Raid focuses less on. The
Dredd just has naturally more interesting characters.
Yeah, it's got more interesting characters, and the characters have more arcs to them.
Yeah, it also had probably a lot bigger budget, but this one was a pretty sweet film.
Yeah, because the scaling for Dredd is you look at an American movie's budget, which can balloon to stupid amounts, and it's a small budget for an American movie is 5 times the large budget for an Indonesian film.
Yeah. But I liked it. I liked that. I think part of why I liked it so much is because I like that premise. I like when a movie is all in one spot. Mm-hmm. I like when the odds are you could even call the regular Marvel movies, those are kind of underdog movies until they get fucking wizard powers or whatever. But this movie is, the odds are so against the main person. I like when it's just really, really bad for the main character.
The odds don't really get better over time.
No,
he doesn't get more powerful.
He does not get wizard powers. He does not have more people working with him ever. He's always losing people to work with. And to go up, I like that they don't just take an elevator or whatever. They have to literally walk up the whole thing while everybody's trying to kill them.
Into ambushes, into people with machetes.
Yep. And then I like the part where they're, I think there is one line where they're like, what do you think you're going to do once you get to the top? You're going to kill him and then you're going to walk out? Like, you won? Like, this is the suicide mission no matter what. So, I thought that was cool. I liked close quarters combat. I thought probably the best fight scene, I mean, obviously there's the one with Mad Dog that's really good because it's a 2v1.
Yeah.
And
it's like the climax of the movie.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Mad Dog, who's the small guy who's the big enforcer, but he fights Rama and Crime Brother at the same time, and that is a great fight scene.
Yeah,
and
it's
also excellent because I'll get into it later.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, so anyway, I liked the scene where they're establishing how cool Rama is, where is he protecting one of his dudes in the hallway where he gets in the handgun fight where the four guys?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, he's protecting his injured
Yeah,
squad
so, he's got to protect his squad mate who's been shot, I assume, and they're in one hallway, and all the other guys, do they have guns?
that's the one with machetes.
Yeah, there's the Machete Boys.
No, Machete Boys is later.
Yeah.
Machete Boys is after he puts his friend with the medicine man. So the scene that you're talking about, the doctor. There are some guys with.
I don't think he's a doctor.
Yeah, I don't think
He's
I think
definitely
he's
not a
bringing-
medicine man.
Well, he's bringing medicine to. He's bringing medicine.
The
to
man
his wife.
with medicine.
He's a man who
It
has
meant
medicine.
Man who has medicine.
For our listeners, that is the literal translation.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, I like that part because it's the mix, like, the gunfights are cool. Like, I like when it's his whole squad fighting the people in the next level above them, and it's just a gunfight. Like, they're so outmatched because the other people just are one floor above them and can almost shoot them. But this scene it's hand to hand and he has a gun.
Yeah.
And like,
And
this
I
is
think he
how
has a
you're
knife, too.
introduced.
Yeah, that's
This
cool.
is how you're introduced to the main character. And maybe it's because Nick and I watch a lot of superhero shit and consume a lot of that kind of media. You're like, oh, he's a good guy. He's not going to kill anyone. But he fucking kills everybody in
Hard.
that scene. Yeah,
He kills them hard.
it's always
There
a
are
thing,
scenes
like,
where somebody is already incapacitated and then he shoots them.
right. It's like, well, better make sure. It's like, well, I guess you're right. So I liked that. I think there's like a lot of times in movies where you're like, well, why doesn't he just shoot them? And then in this movie, he does actually just shoot.
It's like you start saying, well, why doesn't he? Oh,
he did that. I was excited.
I didn't realize that as he was punching that guy, he shot him.
Yeah.
Well, first they were trying not to shoot anybody, and then once they shot one person, it was now we gotta shoot everybody.
They were definitely down to kill people because the second they found a spotter, they garroted him to death.
Yeah, but they were trying not to,
Did they kill
shoot
that
people
guy?
because that makes noise.
Yes,
That's
he
a killing
definitely
thing?
died. Yeah, a wire to the neck.
You
Yeah.
just choke them until they're passed out.
I don't think you could choke someone with a metal
I
wire.
really love that montage
You
of
do
them
not-
like going up through the floors.
I liked. What was I gonna say here? So I liked the gunfights. They were really cool. The hand to hand was cool. There was one scene in the movie where they open the door to the new level and there's just a kid standing at the end of the hallway.
Yeah.
And both Nick and I were like, oh, because Nick and I watched this at the same time. We're like, oh shit. And then one guy goes to shoot the kid, and the kid ends up escaping. We're like, wow, that would have been fucked up if they showed that kid dying. And then we're like, well, it actually would have been right if they had shot. They were correct to try to shoot the kid because the kid alerts the entire building.
And then
They shoot the kid. It's like, oh, I don't know about that.
It gives
Rama
you
was
every
pissed
outcome of
about
the
it.
scene.
Yeah. It gives
Or
you
Jaka. I
you
think
flip
Jaka was
back and
pissed.
forth. so
Jaka-
Is
much.
Jaka pissed?
Yeah, Jaka's
Okay.
the team leader, who's not the lieutenant. He's like a sergeant.
Yeah.
And he's the second protagonist that I was talking about earlier, who later on meets a terrible fate.
Rama and Jaka, they get split up, and that has a lot of fun. That makes the movie a lot of fun in terms of like these two characters in different places, both trying to get up this building and get.
And they immediately show how strong that both of them are. Because they both are put inside of situations where the odds aren't necessarily in their favor. And they're both washing these poor people. Just,
That's really cool. Another thing I liked about this movie is that I didn't expect it to have really clean, good cinematography. And they do
it was
some
good.
really cool shots.
Yeah.
in
Oh,
it.
absolutely. The ambush scene. When there's a scene where they're trying to get into probably, I think it's the 5th or 6th floor, and there's people on the 7th floor. And this apartment complex is one of those ones where the center is just one big square that's open.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So-
a big staircase.
Just like in Dread.
Just like in Dread. And the team starts to try to shotgun open the door in order to blast it open so they could run into the 6th floor or the 5th floor. And is it Rama or somebody like realizes a second too late. He's like, this doesn't feel right. This is too quiet. This is a trap. And there's people on the 7th floor waiting for there to be any indication that the squad is below them. So the second that the shotgun goes off and the flash of the muzzle goes, then almost the entire squadron gets fired upon, like executions.
Yeah.
Like
there's this slow motion like lighting up of their shadows, just like going across the wall, and then there's the gunfire starts.
Reveal the people that are ready to ambush them, and then the gunfire starts. Literally like firing squad style, and
good shit.
The squad has like no chance.
I want to jump on with George and Cam and say that the cinematography in this movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, there are some movies where the action is an excuse to almost not try as hard with the shot composition and things like that. Yeah. It's like, oh, things are moving fast, so that's okay. In particular, I want to give an anti-shout-out to Avengers, which has some terrible, terrible choreography anytime someone is trying to punch or kick something, and that's...
In the first one?
In the first one.
Okay.
It's sort of excusable when you're fighting a CG alien, but when Black Widow is fighting humans at the beginning, it is so bad.
Yeah.
They're
basically cutting around the action so that they don't have to show it, kind
But you can still see enough to see that like nothing is happening.
You know that she's supposed to be hurting people, but you don't get to see it, and they don't want you to see it.
Which it's funny to me because then you see how good Scarlett Johansson is at doing those things in the later movies. So
it's not like, it's not the actor's fault for not being able to do this. It's just the person who directed this or like just chose these angles and chose to cut it this way is like, well, why show them anything?
Yeah, that's one thing that you hear all the time is like that an action movie is or a fight scene is as good as it is to tell where everyone is. Like if you can see where everyone is and you know what's going on, then it's going to be a good action scene. If you're like, oh wait, who was that? Who just got who? Like everyone's wearing black, or like you don't know where they are or who's like what's happening.
The Nolan Batman trilogy has one good fight scene in the whole trilogy.
That's really not good.
And it's only because it's forced to be that way.
I remember being so upset when people were like, guys, you guys see Batman fight Bane? It was nuts. And I was like, you guys have never seen any type of martial arts movie ever. They're like, it was so brutal. I'm like, oh my god.
No, nothing.
One guy gets his spine broken, and all of a sudden...
Hey, speaking of which...
I broke my spine when...
No.
Oh, no.
I know.
Yeah, there's that one. I don't even remember what character's doing what, but I just remembered that one guy gets knocked off of a balcony.
I think he tackles him off.
Yeah.
He might.
Yeah. And so you expect him
he's
to
falling
fall.
down, you're like, oh shit, he's just going to splat and he's dead.
Yeah, he's going to fall down the whole building from whatever level they're on all the way to the bottom floor. But no, he falls from one balcony, one floor down to the next balcony and lands on his back and neck. And just doesn't bounce, doesn't like roll off the balcony, just lands flat and like sticks there.
And he makes like an upside down.
He turns into a slap bracelet on this.
He absolutely gets slap
bracelet. That's so gross. You're so right though.
Makes the same noise too.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I like that easy. Like this movie's built on its premise. Like I think even if the action or the actors weren't very good or the cinematography wasn't good, the premise is still really cool. It was just a little dull that I'd seen Dread, and in that one. Bones from the new Star Trek series has a gun that can shoot bombs out of it. So like, it's like, oh, that was really cool when he put his gun on bomb mode and shot a bomb at them. But they don't do that in this movie, which is fine. It was more.
They make a makeshift bomb. That gas from the stove. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, they don't have your future tech. They gotta slum it with what they have, and that's a theme in this movie.
Bombs here.
Oh, the fridge bomb scene was really interesting.
Yeah.
I appreciate how they immediately make it known that this film's going to be brutal. One, by opening with the execution scene, where Tama executes 4 people, and then on his 5th shot runs out.
Good.
And you're like, oh, I guess he's not going to kill this guy. No, he goes through his dusty ass drawer, and I think he picks a hammer.
Yeah,
he
picks a bunch of bullets in the drawer.
He opens the drawer, and the bullets come out, and then you're like, oh, he's going to grab the bullets. And then he goes for the hammer, and that's when I knew I was watching a good movie.
It was great. I really liked it.
Speaking of how you knew when you were watching a good movie, Alex, you want to tell us about what your impressions were on this film?
All right. I enjoyed this film. I like action movies. I haven't seen too many like martial arts films really. Even though it's a genre I like good fight scenes, and that's a genre full of good fight scenes mostly. So it's definitely something I enjoyed that was out my alley, but something I hadn't really tried before, which is good. It was fun. Like Cam said, I like the premise. I think it's really strong to have like that kind of self-contained story with a very clear like progression route. Like they're going up and they're going towards a dude.
Mm-hmm.
And
they literally have to kill one guy.
It is very clear what they are doing at all times, and that's very good for a movie that is definitely not focused on story, that has other things to worry about. And I think that strong premise and the idea that they were going towards a thing to do something was good. What else? The action was very solid. I can kind of see where Seb was getting at, where sometimes like there is a lot of action in this movie, and sometimes I'm like, oh, we've been watching a fight for a while.
I felt in the middle it kind of dragged because there was way more fight.
Yeah, even though it was all awesome.
Yeah,
it was all awesome.
Yeah,
but I like it to be a little bit broken up.
Yeah,
there's a specific part where they fight in one room, run into another room, and fight in that room.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like across the hallway.
It made me think of like beat 'em up games that would play on Xbox.
It's all very video gamey in that you're literally progressing like they call it level 2, like when they go to the second floor,
just like in any building.
Where would you say we're on the level 2 of the building right now?
Yes,
I would say the second floor.
I would say the second floor probably.
Like a normal person.
But it was pretty good. I definitely liked. We were talking a little bit about the cinematography and stuff. There was one shot towards the beginning that that came back to mind, where they're climbing up the stairs, and as someone runs in front of the number for the floor, it cuts to the next number, and I thought that was so sick.
Yeah, that was very animation style shot too. I think.
It was not something I see often in live action.
The cuts in this are actually pretty good too, especially compared to most action movies nowadays, where everything is shaky cam and the punch is about to land. Let me switch to another angle. This one's no, the punches land and you feel them. Yeah. The main thing you feel are the knees and the elbows. But
a lot of great action, and like that's the knees and the elbows. You're right.
Impact. Like sometimes when you watch a movie. Like what George was saying, they cut away before the hit, or they do something to obscure it. They just make the noise, and it makes it a lot easier to film, and the famous actor with $1 billion face doesn't have to get his face scuffed up or whatever. But when you're watching a movie, it robs some of that impact when they do all these fancy tricks to kind of cut around filming a regular action scene.
Yeah, the action definitely felt like it had a lot of punch, which is not something that I'm used to. Pun intended.
It had some weight to
punch
it.
Intended.
It was. Wow. It was really. You could feel the impact.
Punch when that guy gets slap braceleted onto the banister, like. You feel that,
that's some neat CG.
And they show it too.
They're like, I can't believe they killed the real guy for the shot.
It looks like he's dead.
I would it does. I mean, you watch a movie and you go through an action scene, but you don't always feel it when somebody gets hit. Sometimes you're watching something, someone gets shot or punched or stabbed or something, and you go, ugh. You just cringe a little bit.
Or the worst part's did he just die? I can't tell.
Yeah. There was one part. Normally I'm okay with blood and gore up to a point, but when they were slicing the neck of Mad Dog, I felt that, and I was ugh.
It's because it was so slow, and
I think
he slowly
because you could see he's
his neck open up.
And opened like a Pez dispenser.
Yeah, it's like a human neck is not just jelly that you can cut through. You could feel there's the muscle.
Yeah, they were getting stuck at some places.
It wasn't a smooth pace the whole time. It was like he was struggling to pull the thing.
I also really like that scene because in that fight scene, Mad Dog gets stabbed with a beaker, right?
Well, he gets stabbed with a light.
Fluorescent light.
So he gets stabbed with that in the neck, and then he keeps fighting them.
Yeah.
So then you're when they're pulling it across his throat, you're like, oh, they didn't need to do that. And then you're also like, actually, they did need to do that.
Yeah, even after that
happened, to fall over, and I'm like, somebody's gonna have to finish this job.
Yeah. It's not
the
done
camera stayed on his like dead body for a few minutes, even after they left the
I
room.
know.
I was like, he can't get up. This movie's too realistic, but will he get up?
They really show you that Mad Dog outclasses everyone like in physical combat because Mad Dog is also obliterating Rama and Crime Brother. Like the whole fight scene.
It was hardly even at a 2v1.
Yeah.
And that's fucking cool.
Up until the very end, where the only way they even the playing field is by shoving a light into his neck.
And like Alex said, you're expecting him. Oh, it'd be cool if while he was fighting, he slowly got worse because he has a light bulb.
Yeah, I expected him to fight. He's gonna fight for a couple seconds and then he's gonna fucking die.
Yeah,
that just makes him more mad.
Yeah, he's just. No, he's fine. You just stabbed him.
They just get some like clean hits in at the end, and they just get lucky. But,
definitely, I love the. While we're talking about Mad Dog, he just fucking snaps that guy's neck.
Jaka.
Can I describe the scene?
Yeah, go for it, George.
So I think that the scene's great. I would actually love if this scene had a bigger budget or was just recently released because they could have done a little bit more with it to make it that much more brutal. It already was a brutal scene because Mad Dog is messing up Jaka pretty bad. Well, I do appreciate how the choreography is because it shows that these people are trained. And especially in this scenario, it seems that both parties are trained, even though Mad Dog does fight a little bit more wild and not like over swinging, anything like that. He just fights more wild because he goes for less than reasonable things, unorthodox moves. But Mad Dog beats up Jaka pretty bad inside this scene. It's pretty cool, and they show Jaka being hurt throughout the scene. Mad Dog never slows down though. Jaka, again, he's no slouch. He does okay despite the fact that he's getting the crap beat out of him. But Mad Dog gets the last laugh like a lot, and he. At the end, after Mad Dog has, made Jaka his own personal punching bag, Jaka's still fighting. Jaka's still trying to keep up, but he's in a daze. His punches are real, like, painfully slow. You feel bad for Jaka.
He's hardly fucking conscious at that point.
Yeah, he's barely conscious. But this is where I think that...
broken.
Oh, yeah.
This is where I think
he looks like shit. He fights like shit. He's done, and we know it as the viewer.
This is where I think the film would have been... This scene in particular would have been really cool with a little bit of bigger budget just for like makeup and stuff and maybe if some of the ending punches landed a little bit more solidly because Jaka is in a daze. He's in the Mortal Kombat fatality state. He's spinning basically and Mad Dog keeps trying to grab him and Jaka knows that he's about to get his neck snapped, so he's trying to fight it and Mad Dog just keeps punching him in the face and in the temple and just is brutalizing Jaka, and it's really cool and it just makes you really tense because you know what's about to happen. And Jaka's still fighting until the very end, but I think it would have been a little bit cool if you got a little bit more bloodied up, or if like maybe slow motion wouldn't have done it. Slow motion would have been kind of weird in this movie, but I think if they had more close-ups or something like that of Jaka getting hit and then like slowly fading out, and then Mad Dog does a neck snap fatality on Jaka.
Yeah, I think it's just the finality of it. It's like he knows that if he gets grabbed, he's going to die, but he's so exhausted and beat up that he can't do anything about it. And Mad Dog's just like, okay, now I will kill you. And he's like...
You know what it is? You honestly get a sense of dread when Mad Dog, or on occasion, some of the other enemies come onto the screen. When the machete crew starts coming by, and Jaka's team doesn't have any weapons... You are nervous for them because they show the whole time they're playing with them. They're dragging the machete across the wall. They're tapping the machete on the wall. They're showing that they're a threat to the surrounding area. And the whole time you're like, oh, please don't turn this corner where Jaka is. Please don't, because they're not going to be able to block a machete. But yeah, sorry.
All right, all right. Going back to the next step. So they demonstrate that Mad Dog is a motherfucker.
Is a mad dog.
And so they do. So he does the next step, and it's crazy cool. All right.
I know what you're about.
So when they do it in the final fight, when he grabs grabs Bad Brother.
Crime Brother.
Yeah, Crime Brother.
Bad Crime Brother.
Rama's grabbed.
Oh no, I thought it was Crime Brother. Got grabbed.
Crime Brother, I think, is the one that gets him with the.
No, I thought it was the other way around. Oh shit.
Oh wait, are you talking? Wait, the one who does that, or the one who's about to get their neck snapped?
Yeah. The one who's about to get his neck snapped. Oh fuck! All right, I watched the movie wrong.
You had it on. You were watching it in a mirror.
Well, all right. My thought process
was.
My thought process was, oh, they could totally kill the brother here,
Yeah.
That was where I was going with that. But if I watched the movie wrong, I'm an idiot.
No, you might be right. I think it's wrong, but you might be right.
But yeah, when whoever got grabbed there, I'm like, oh, he's fucking done.
Yeah.
The other guy might be able to kill him. Might be able to stab Mad Dog, but I don't think he's going to save him.
Mm-hmm.
So that was where I was going with that, because they've already demonstrated that he can just fucking kill somebody like that. Very cool, but good movie.
Film.
Yeah.
So, I watched this with Cam, so our viewing experience was pretty much the same, but I have not really seen a ton of martial arts movies. I've seen a lot of movies where the whole focus is action. Dread is a good example, but you can see what they wanted to go for with this movie. It's a very focused premise. It keeps its like Alex said, it keeps your eye on the goal the whole time. There's a guy at the top. Need to get him. We got to go through a whole building to get to him, because we can't exactly go from the top down, and he's not gonna come down and meet us. So
wait, could they go from the top down? What if they had a helicopter? Why does the movie do that? They do that in the movie.
Well, they're also trying to keep it low key.
At the start they were trying to just.
Yeah.
Also, you
Or
can't
he's
have
told.
you can't have a bus full of guys if you're doing a helicopter.
Yeah,
either.
that's true.
A bus full of guys and hardware, which quickly goes to shit because those guys and hardware all are destroyed.
Yeah.
This movie does a very good job of transitioning from one type of action to another, but as Seb said, it does not. If you're not here for action, it doesn't make any effort to give you anything else. Like, even the story and the character beats are told through action. Like, important plot moments happen in moments of action. Like, the characters will get ambushed and the squad will get thinned out, or you'll discover that someone is a traitor, or that they are less important than you think they are in an action scene because they will die or they will not die. Like, there's no part of this movie that slows down, but it uses that tension to keep moving forward.
There's a couple slowdowns, actually. There's when Crime Brother pulls Rama into the room and then they have a conversation. There's a couple other times where they're like, oh man, we're fucked. Like, hiding in a room. Or
Rama and Bowo. I think the guy who's hurt is Bowo.
Yeah.
And when they're hiding inside the man's room, and they hide inside of a wall, and the machete guys come in, and it was like watching Inglourious Bastards, kind of, because they're trying to hide inside the wall, and then the guy's like, oh, you're hiding anyone in here? Oh, I guess you won't mind if I stab this wall.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's what happened.
That's such a movie cliche, but it
When
does
this wall
work.
you got here, I bet you wouldn't mind if I stabbed it.
Yeah.
He does.
But,
Yeah.
There was more slowdowns, you said?
Yeah, I mean, those are just some examples. There are some slowdowns, but there aren't a ton.
Yeah.
And there's, I think, the pacing of the slowdowns can be a bit, not weird, but there is a section of the movie where I was like, man, it's been a while since we just, like, breathed for a long time.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you can go on.
It does a good job, like we were saying earlier, it does a good job of keeping track of where people are during action scenes. It does a lot of fun stuff with camera work during the action scenes. There's a great bit during the Mad Dog fight where they shoot it from above, and you can see both of them trying to take on Mad Dog at the same time. And you can see, like, they're getting their asses kicked, and you can see just how well Mad Dog is controlling the space around him by them trying to come at him at all these weird different angles. He's just kicking their asses.
Really quick, one thing I think is cool about Mad Dog is when Nick and I were watching this movie, before they show you Mad Dog and the what do they call him? The mastermind or whatever?
Yeah, they call him a genius.
Yeah, so they say they got the crime genius and Mad Dog, who is a brutal murder machine. But you don't see them. And then they show them, and Nick and I were like, okay, which one's Mad Dog and which one's the...
which one's
we
crime
expected,
genius?
One big nerd guy, and then the biggest man I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's, like, super good at punching.
I thought he was pretty easy to identify.
Really?
The hair and the kind of, like, the smirk on his face the whole time.
But I really liked Mad Dog does look intimidating, even though he's short. He's not, like, buff. He's almost
pretty
skinny.
Yeah, he's pretty skinny.
So he's short,
He's
skinny.
lean.
He's kind of older than the other guys.
It's his demeanor. It's how he interacts with the world around him, and also, like, they intimidate you by showing how he interacts with other characters. Like, after he kills Jaka, he it's later commented by Rama, is carrying around Jaka's dead
He just
body
fucking
like an
drags
animal.
him.
He's just dragging him, and he's
Yeah.
bringing him up to Tama,
They
up
make
to
no
the top
bones
floor
about it. This guy's
to be
fucking
like,
hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
to
was
be like,
another
oh, this is the
slowdown
guy
I
I
liked
killed.
because they're like going up the elevator to see Tama, and Rama just goes, "That's the wrong guy," because
Yeah.
at that
or
point,
Rama's brother.
Rama's
Yeah.
brother says that's the wrong guy because at this point they're really looking for Rama because he's tearing the whole building up.
Yeah, because Rama's
And
the
they're
one that's
looking-
doing
and,
work.
Yeah.
Tama is looking for the lieutenant as well. He pointed
Yeah.
him out at the beginning of the movie. It's like, get that guy.
Right.
Yeah. But so they're just standing there in front of an elevator like this is a totally normal day, and
With a
Mad
dead
Dog
body
is
in
just dragging Jaka around.
Yeah, it's like, well, better than you. You didn't kill anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like,
that
at least
whole
I
scene-
got one.
That whole scene up there with Tama where he's actually kind of scary.
Yeah.
Tama's kind of scary because he's so calm the whole time, but you can tell he's like not somebody you want to fuck around with. So Mad Dog has Jaka behind him, and Crime Brother doesn't have anything. So Tama goes, "Let me see your hands."
Oh yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, those look empty." Turn them around. Oh, they're empty.
Yeah. Yep. Still empty.
Still empty. He's like, "You've really wasted my time." But dude, the way he says everything, like every word so deliberately, it's so
Oh, yeah.
intimidating.
Your boy.
I can't praise the camera work or the editing enough in this movie. It really lends more weight to the proceedings, to this, which already has a great concept. As Cam said, the concept itself is fun. You're going in, you have a team, you're just going to get this one guy. It's focused. There's tons of action all the way through, and they really do a smooth transition of this is a movie with gunfights to this is a movie with fistfights, and it's a smooth progression from all right, everyone's kitted out, they've got armor, they've got bullets, they've got ammo, and they're up against a bunch of people who have to scrape by what they can, and then these people have scraped up a lot of guns.
Yeah, they're just like immediately outclassed.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And then Machete Team comes in, and at
On
this
Machete
point,
floor.
yeah,
After everyone's ran out of ammo too.
yeah.
Or
And
lost it.
the snipers across the street picking off anyone
Oh,
who got close
that
to the
was so
windows
cool.
is an
Oh, yeah.
amazing scene. I was wondering if they were going to come back later, just because of how much
yeah.
well, they were given a little bit of build up, but it doesn't. It's not so much.
My first thought when somebody peeked out the window, I had like my Rainbow Six senses kicked.
Yeah.
in. I was like,
It's
no,
like-
no, don't peek.
They did the classic sniper bait. They're like, "Oh, don't finish them off.
Yeah.
Somebody else is gonna come over here."
Yep.
Yeah. Somebody else is going to come over here to be like, "Oh, where'd you get shot from?"
They
and
say
then they
the
get
private
over
eye.
Here? He says, "Oh, whoa, what's this?" And he
Oh
looks
my
out the
God.
window.
Oh, whoa, what's this?
I felt weird when I realized I learned a guerrilla warfare tactic from Gears of War. I'd like snipe someone down. And I'm like, no, I'll wait for his buddy to come over. And I was like, oh, I'm 13. I shouldn't know this. I'm like,
Metal Gear Solid 2 was right again.
Nice.
If I was to pick a favorite fight scene in the movie, it would probably be between Mad Dog and Jaka. That fight does a great job of it's a one-on-one between two characters with different fighting styles but the same tools. Like I was wondering at the beginning of that scene whether or not they were going to go the route of okay, he's corrupt and they're working together, because it's a big open space, or not a big open space, but a point where anybody could be watching, and Mad Dog has a gun to his head, and then he's like, all right, you're gonna move into this room where no one can see us, and they move into that room where no one can see him, basically so that his boss can't watch. And then he takes all the bullets out of his gun and puts it on the desk, and he's like, okay, now we can fight.
Yeah.
And it's not like now we can talk, like a scene that happens like almost immediately after that, where two characters do that, where Crime Brother and Rama have a conversation after being pulled into a room.
And what's crazy about it is they show not only how skilled Mad Dog is, but how much he outclasses Jaka, because they show Jaka, and also when Rama fights Mad Dog, both Jaka and Rama both are taking out assailants like it's nobody's business. Both are like, I appreciate the choreography, because even though it's obviously choreographed, a lot of it had like impact to it, and it felt like these were actually trained soldiers. Like everything they did seemed calculated.
Oh well, Nick read something about that actually.
They trained with the Indonesian SWAT team for 3 months. Everyone
It
was on that team to learn hand signs,
they killed
martial arts,
so
and
many
movement.
people.
Like, they wanted to make
These
sure that their
actors.
movements were going to be accurate. None of that.
It definitely felt authentic.
Yeah, no, that's what I appreciated about it, because it looked like trained soldiers fighting untrained peasants.
None of that action movie running with your gun pointed out right in front of you shit.
Yeah, no, and I like that a lot about it.
So that fight scene really just shows off the best parts of the movie. They do a lot of fun camera work. It goes on for a while, and like that makes you more stressed as it goes on, because it's like, oh well, he could kill the lieutenant and the movie would still have weight to it. Like if Mad Dog went down there, it would still be a fun thing.
And a lot that's your first boss.
Yeah, and a lot of action movies will pair off like the side character with the henchman. It's like they'll have their own fight, and then the main character will fight the main villain. It's like, no, Mad Dog fucking kills him, and there's no bones about it. Like,
and you like Jaka at this point,
yeah,
too.
you like Jaka.
Jaka's a good dude.
You've learned like, oh, Jaka's like he wants to do the right thing.
He cares
He
about
wants
his
to not
guys.
shoot kids.
Yeah.
He wants to.
Yeah, he's the very low bar of he doesn't want to murder any children.
Yeah.
Well, and he's going back
even
in
though
and trying
he
to
should've.
save the rest of his
And then
guys.
they
Yeah.
did that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and
But
he's
we wouldn't be talking about this movie if it wasn't the Dead Baby
Right.
podcast.
That's right. And
It's the
we'll
only
continue
running
that
theme.
trend.
Don't go back and check Scrooge McDuck for that. You will not be
Comedy
happy.
Bang Bang one.
I bet they did
Is
it.
that Dead Baby in the show?
Oh, yes, Craig Robinson's episode when Reggie is sent off to space.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Dead Baby. There's Dead Baby in that one.
That's so funny.
It's domed.
Next week is Space Runaway Idiot, where we go over that.
Oh, nice.
No. I thought the movie was great. I'm happier having watched it, and I'm absolutely going to check out the sequel sometime soon.
I haven't seen the sequel. I would love to watch it with you.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
have
we
to
should do it
we'll have to
sometime.
do
We
it.
can watch
supposed to be
that. We can watch the
It's supposed to be
Descent
really
too.
good.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Both Georges
They
have
got a
sequels.
little bit more money, and it's set in a prison.
Now it's 2 buildings.
Yeah.
And that's a building within a building.
All right. So George, this is the last one of our hard sells for our loop of hard sells, where we all were like, no, this is good, I promise. This one for you, I don't think it was as hard to sell for us, just because we're like used to watching things that are subtitled a lot of the time, but sometimes it's hard to get somebody to agree to like, oh yeah, no,
I'll watch this
foreign martial arts film.
I'm even with what George is saying is like, even saying, oh, this movie has good action in it. It's like the Daredevil movies or the Daredevil film, TV show.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I saw the Daredevil TV show. I know what a cool punch scene looks like. I'm actually not super interested in watching martial arts films. A lot of the time, sometimes I'd rather just watch like the fight scene on YouTube if it's like really that good.
I'm the opposite. I like watching martial arts films just because I grew up on them. So it's like a nostalgia thing.
But that's why it works for the hard sell. It's like I
Yeah,
like watching a TV show based on a podcast on IFC.
Like I said, the big reason why, like I said, only reason why I watch it is because I grew up watching martial arts films. My uncle, or no, he's my cousin. My cousin showed me this, and that's because he also grew up watching martial art films, and he showed me a lot of martial arts films that I saw growing up.
Yeah.
So
Sick.
yeah.
So you want to talk about what other movies were like this one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you
like this
actually
one?
know any other ones like this? Because you're gonna be the star of the show here in terms of recommendations. Because Cam and I already talked about Daredevil and Dread, which are only 2
those are the
comparison
2.
points.
So, I think that if you like the way that the story was structured, of it more so just being a underdog story of trying to get through hostile territory to this end point, which I guess in this case the end point was killing Tama. The Warriors is a good movie. The action isn't great, but for the time, I guess it was pretty alright for the time.
There's a shot in this movie that is almost certainly a shout out to the Warriors.
Yeah, when there's a part in the movie where Tama essentially tells all of his tenants inside the slum, "Hey, kill everyone. There you go. Hey, man."
And it does
Free rent.
it does the zoom in on
the
with his
microphone.
face obscured in shadow, and you can only see the mouth talking into the microphone, the desk microphone.
Yep. Just like in the Warriors, essentially what happens is a gang leader gets shot, and the Warriors are to blame. Not actually, it's not really them, but they're to blame. And on the radio, there's like some gang radio where the host is like, "Oh, there's some crazy cats out there called the Warriors. Let us know if you get by them and maybe waste them," or some shit like that. But and the whole point of the movie is for them to get from Central Park all the way to Coney Island, and they have multiple gangs chasing them because all these gangs think that they killed this big gang leader.
This is the horizontal version of the raid.
Yeah, the raid is like the raid redemption is
They gotta
police
go out.
trying to get away from criminals, and the warriors are criminals trying to get away from criminals.
Yeah. Well,
And I think it's a good movie I just think it's a good movie. The action isn't on par, but if you like the idea of this movie, this is pretty similar.
Yeah.
Another movie is Ong Bak, the Muay Thai warrior, and that it's pretty sweet. There's 3 at least, and that movie gets pretty brutal. The action's pretty similar. It's not, was it Pencak Salat? It's Muay Thai, as obvious as the name. And a lot of, in fact, most movies just with Muay Thai in it. Muay Thai is a pretty brutal sport to begin with, so the choreography for the most part is brutal in any movie where Muay Thai is involved. Specifically in Ong Bak too. I haven't seen the sequels, but I know the first one is pretty brutal. I think it inspired this film for sure. In the action sequences.
How would you spell that?
ONG space BAK.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I watched it when I was like ever since I was a kid. So
Yeah,
it's spelled like it sounds.
yeah. Totally.
just like, hey, listeners, if you've never seen the word written out before, spell Muay Thai.
Probably most Jet Li movies are actually pretty brutal and have pretty good action. Again, if you like any movie where there's an underdog trying to get to hostile territory with like crazy odds, Get Him to the Greek is good. I'm just kidding. That's
I was like, do I not know what Get Him to the Greek is?
No, Get Him,
I like experience sheer panic.
Get Him to the Greek's that Russell Brand movie with Jonah Hill, I think.
Oh my god.
I don't
Wedding
know if that's-
Crasher is also really good action martial arts
Against
film.
all odds.
They have to crash this wedding.
Yeah, but yeah, and as Cam and Nick said, Dredd, Daredevil. Daredevil in particular has a lot of scenes that were inspired by this film, or
It's
at
all
least seem to
close
be.
quarters combat.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
martial
we are
arts,
going
basically.
to say, just to clarify so that there are no smartasses on this show, we are talking about the TV show, not the movie.
Not the movie.
Yes, the animated TV series.
Yes.
Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers.
You have to watch the Wedding Crashers anime if you want anything like this.
No, real fans read the source material, and you know that.
Actually, if you want to look at some animated things with some good martial arts in it, the Avatar series is really good.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
It's not as
Kinda
good for like,
hand-to-hand.
I mean, it's like
It's not
animated
as-
for kids, so you don't get
Yeah.
the weight of it, but
Yeah.
the choreography is very well
Yeah,
done.
the
in that
choreography
show.
is great. Like they got a guy who was a martial arts
Right.
like teacher
Each
to do it.
bending style is based on a martial arts style.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is cool.
I can't think of. I'm trying to think of an anime now that has like close quarters.
I
I'm not-
can't think of anything hand to hand that isn't boxing.
Yeah, that's a little bit tough.
if you're cool with boxing, Hajime no Ippo is
Yeah, there
amazing.
you go.
Yeah, a dude kills a bear at one point, or he knocks it out. I think he might just
How
knock
they
it
let the
out.
bear in the
That's
ring?
based on of all the things that you would think are not based on reality in that show. That one is based on real
I
life.
heard. I
Yeah,
heard.
good old Willie
Fashion
Williams.
animal murder. Remember when they like used to electrocute elephants?
All right, so next week on the show. Next week, it is my episode. It's looped all the way back to me to exert my tyrannical rule on this podcast again. And somebody not so kindly said that I am picking what I chose as revenge for this podcast. Emily
Makes
said
sense,
that. Emily said that I chose
Oh,
my
then
title.
I said it again.
It is
Yeah.
revenge based.
Yeah.
Well,
Because me and Emily have the same brain.
I edit
Because
this show every
we
week.
all do the hard work of being on the show, and then Nick hands in the glory of
Yeah.
editing the show, posting it, making the
Honestly.
art, paying for the SoundCloud subscription, putting it on YouTube,
It's- yeah.
listening to it.
It's lazy.
It's not
Listening
fair.
to it 30 times to
Glory
inflate our
grabbing.
viewer count.
Honestly, it's like a case of stolen valor. To be
Yeah,
honest.
honestly, he has never let us edit the show.
Yeah.
And next week you're going to find out why. Because we have, I have chosen for my experience,
Did
audio
you explain
editing.
to them what the experience thing is?
Oh, well, I'm getting into it right now.
Okay.
So,
Wait.
yeah.
Did you explain to them the audio experiences?
Okay, so the audio experience.
So every week I edit the show, and I suggested Nick.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I'm
Oh.
sorry now.
So
Nick, edit this out.
Can you edit this podcast real quick?
on the fly editing in real time.
That's
I mean,
what my
it can't be
stand
hard,
does.
right?
Well, you're gonna find out, right? You're gonna find out 15
But how's
minutes
he gonna
before
find
next
out?
week's recording when you try to edit. So I wanted to. this whole next loop, we did hard sells for the last loop. This loop, we're doing experiences only. We've all seen plenty of movies, read books, watched TV shows, played video games, that sort of thing. But this time, we're not doing any media. We're all doing experiences. So that's going to get really weird in some cases. And
Wait.
Mine's going to be the experience of watching the Comedy Bang Bang TV show episodes.
This experience sucks. But because it's something that I have been doing now every week, and I had a little bit of a background in it before, but it feels second nature to me now. Like it's something that I am very familiar with.
You're just so good at it.
I mean, they've heard the show.
I didn't say any of that.
Just patting himself on the back more and more. I see your game.
Handing the awards to the people that make the awards.
Well, it's the point I was trying to make is that when you're going through something like this, and after you learn it, it feels like second nature. But doing it for the first time can be a little weird, and I think it would be a fun experience to just have everyone have some fun with an audio clip and see what they turn in. I'm going to play the clips on the next episode, and we're going to go through them all together. Which means that, Alex, you're going to have to do it a little more than 15 minutes in advance so that you can send me it
half an hour
at the end. But the clip I chose is an NPR news story about a California beekeeper getting his bees stolen. And it's
simply them saying bee theft and he knew about the bees.
Yeah.
There's so many good clips in this. It's so funny.
I will not let them do it alone. I will also cut it up myself, and we'll have some fun with that. But so next week is going to be a little different. Instead of we're going to have our impressions, but we're also going to have something to show for it. And I hope you will look forward to that. Anyone have anything else they want to add?
I'm going to make a beat.
Oh, gross.
I can't wait
I'm going to
there.
be leaving this podcast.
Yeah. And
Starting
also,
next week.
speaking of revenge, Cam has suggested that his drop, which he has already started working on, is revenge for me on me.
No, it's not revenge. It's that you literally all have to sit here and listen to it while Nick has to pull the rope on the guillotine. Is that how you activate that?
You let go of the rope.
You turn the lever on the guillotine.
You press play on the guillotine.
Press play on the guillotine.
Yeah.
So it's not revenge, it's just spite.
Not really spite, but like if you were to handcuff someone to something and then like make them read your screenplay, like it's kind of one of those things.
What would you call that?
I don't know.
Hollywood.
Torture.
Hollywood. Wow. Sounds in Washington.
I feel like more Hollywood would be you handcuff someone for them to... I'm not going to... I was trying to make
All right.
I was going to make fun of the old people that are weird, but...
This has been Please Don't Listen to This. Your life depends on it. Next week is We Edit a News Story.
Bee theft.
Bee theft.
In my town?
And we'll see you then. Thanks
there,
for listening.
Please save me.
Be there.